Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm actually really excited for the video we have here today. Today we're going to be chatting about how to glow up quickly. And this isn't just going to be a bunch of BS advice. This advice comes from my own experience, and it's also applicable for any gender, not just dudes like myself. So let's get into the video. I think what's going to be hard is the belief that you can't glow up quickly. Maybe you think you're like naturally ugly or don't look good, or you just feel bad about yourself and think negative things about yourself. All I ask is to step back and give yourself a second chance. I do honestly believe that most people can look good and glow up quickly no matter what your circumstances are. So just give yourself a chance and stick around to the end of this video. Now, just know you actually have to do these things and put effort in. Sure, it can happen quickly, but it's going to be up to you to take initiative and remain consistent. So the first tip would be to work out. I know a lot of people can be nervous about going to the gym for the first time and just being a beginner. The gym isn't the only place that you can work out. Working out is just moving your body and burning energy, burning calories. So I'd say start slow. Like even walking around your neighborhood, that's exercise, that's working out. It's better to start somewhere than not starting at all. Probably half of my workouts are just me walking around the city. It's also a form of meditation. I do think you should be active for at least an hour a day in some form. You can count your bike ride commute to work, or your walk to the subway, or just general exercise like going to the gym towards that hour a day. But I think you should have at least 3 days a week of high intensity workouts where you're really getting your heart beating and working those lungs. So that would be number one, is to just start working out. I think you'll find that by working out, you'll solve a lot of other health issues you may be facing. Just by sweating, moving, burning fat, getting rid of toxins from your body, your skin starts to clear up, you start to breathe better. Mentally, you're more clear and have more energy throughout the day. So yeah, working out is a place I'd recommend starting for anybody who's not there yet. Now, number two goes hand in hand with working out, and that's diet. No, I'm not going to tell you to just eat salads every day or like skip a meal. That's not healthy in the long term and leads to a lot of eating issues. I would know because wrestling and like cutting weight, a lot of the practices that we did in order to lose 10-20 pounds in 1 or 2 weeks are just not healthy or sustainable for you in the long term. What I would recommend is just to make sure that your meals are protein heavy, lean more towards the protein side, and having that be leaner proteins like chicken, just lighter meats over dark meats, but I do also think dark meats are good in moderation. Sometimes things like beef just make me tired, so chicken is just better for me in sustaining my energy. I'm not like a diet expert, but yeah, lean towards protein. Make sure you have leafy greens in your diet like spinach or kale. Sure, you can eat an iceberg salad, but the nutrients don't go very far for you. It's mostly water. You need leafy dark green vegetables that have all these vitamins within them. I do think a lot of people also try to stay away from carbs because they know carbs turn into fat, but carbs are energy. Protein and carbs are energy. Don't restrict your carbs. I would say maybe just change the type of carbs they are, but make sure you're not going overboard. So I think grains like brown rice, even like white rice, switch your breads over to wheat or multigrain. They're more nutrient dense, and white bread is actually not that great for you and doesn't sustain energy very long. If your meal makeup is protein, carbs, and vegetables in some sort of a balanced way, you'll start to feel better, your energy is more consistent throughout the day, and you'll see yourself naturally slimming down and your body's composition changing over time. And this might sound flavorless, but there are ways to spice up these proteins, carbs, whatever, with spices and sauces and whatsoever. You got to get a little bit creative in the kitchen. And then when it comes to going out, you'll also have to do some research on like what's actually good for you. A lot of places will market their food as healthy, but it's full of processed or frozen meats, and there's all these other things thrown in with the mix of the base healthy food to where a lot of it's just bad for you. That's why a lot of very diet focused people will make food at home because they know exactly what's going into their meals. Now, after diet, I would recommend changing up your hairstyle. I could actually use this myself at this point, but just going for like a timeless, clean-cut look will go a long way. One of the first things people see when they meet you for the first time is your face, and I think your hair is a part of that. And if you're clean cut, I think people respect you a little bit more. I think shaving also goes along with that. I can't really say anything since I just can't grow facial hair, but clean cut and well shaven, I think goes a long way for first impressions. Now, my next one would be style. I used to just wear athleisure all the time because I thought it was most comfortable and like easiest to put outfits together on a day-to-day basis. But I've recently started changing my style and dressing up a little bit more, almost like business casual, with like collared shirts and nice pants. And I've actually felt that I am treated very differently and complimented a lot more when I dress up. And it's like I'm the same person, just in different clothes, and you can be treated as two completely different people. I also think when you dress up and get those compliments, it's good for your self-esteem. Just don't let it get to your head. But it works out both ways, you know? When I see a friend dressing up nice, I'll compliment them, saying that I think they look good, like, where'd you get this from? I feel good because I did a good thing and like complimenting somebody, even though like I'm truly feeling that thing, and they're feeling good because they received that compliment. They put some extra effort into how they looked and they're getting rewarded for doing so. One of my friends, James, is putting together an outfit guide for men on like a very simple base wardrobe that I'll try to eventually link here once he comes out with that. But yeah, part of it's like that base set of clothing with like pants and collared shirts and like white t-shirts. I think you'll find a lot of other videos. I don't have time to like go over all of that here. But yeah, number one would be clothing. Number two would be accessories. I think having a ring or two on your hands, like I got this one with my dad in Hawaii. It's like koa wood and gold. I think that goes a long way, just having a ring or two. And I also think getting a nice mechanical watch goes a long way as well. I know you can check the time anytime you want on your phone, but there is some psychological effects to where if you're wearing a watch, people see you as somebody who's on time and respect you for that. Third would be like maybe a nice necklace, and feel free to like mix up gold and silver. I wear both, obviously, but I think accessorizing a little bit goes very far. This fourth one is self-care. It encompasses a lot of different things, but I think they're all about equally as important. So I'll just run down this list. I think a lot of them are fairly straightforward. But sleep is one of the most important things you can take care of. It's where you spend probably more time than anything else in your life doing, and it does set the scene for how you feel most days. When I get terrible sleep, I'm in a bad mood, I'm not as focused, and I think it hinders my ability to do a lot of things well and make the most of the daytime. Now, how much you need to sleep really depends on your age, and you can go look that up. I would recommend sleeping in hour-and-a-half cycles because that's how your rest cycles work. So you would want to sleep for like 6 hours or 7.5 hours or 9 hours to best optimize your time to wake up. I also say you want to make your bedroom as dark as possible so you can fall asleep as fast as possible. And you should try to go to sleep and wake up around the same time every day. In an optimal world, I would be going to sleep early and waking up at 5 or 6 a.m. This next one in self-care would be skincare, just skin hygiene in general, you know, like washing your hands, washing your face. I don't think your skincare routine has to be very complicated. I literally use Cetaphil as a cleanser and Pond's as a moisturizer. It's very cheap, but also very effective at keeping my face clear. Making sure your nails are trimmed properly and aren't dirty. As weird as it sounds, I have gotten a manicure before and I felt badass after. This next one would be hair. Just making sure your hair is taken care of. You're not putting too many harmful chemicals in it. You're washing it consistently, but also not too often to strip away its natural oils. Following up would be posture. I can't say I'm doing a great job right now because I'm leaning over trying to talk into this microphone. But if you can consistently remind yourself to fix your posture, you'll do yourself a lot of favors in the long run. I'm sure you've seen like old people with back problems who are always bending over. And sometimes for me, that automatically reminds me to fix my posture so I don't end up like that. As bad as it sounds. Whenever I'm sitting down, I always have to remind myself to sit back up. And it is hard to remind yourself of those things, but if you can like try to be aware of those situations and fix your posture, that would be epic. I think working out and lifting does help with that. You know, if your form is good in the gym, you'll build the right muscles to maintain proper posture throughout the day. Just want to make sure your head's straight up, your hips are a little bit forward, and your shoulders are pulled back a little bit. It also makes you taller, so for my short kings out there, this is a good one. I'm in the same boat. Next item would be flossing. I had the habit of showing up to the dentist every time and trying to skirt the lines and lie a little bit about how often I do floss. The easiest thing for me has been to get those floss sticks and put them directly next to my toothbrush, so every time I brush my teeth, I'm reminded to floss, and it's made my gums a lot healthier in the process and given me less mouth problems as a whole, so I don't have to go to the dentist so often. Next would be to whiten your teeth. I'm sure you've seen cheap teeth whiteners at the store. I don't personally do this, but I know having white teeth can go a long way. A lot of people often get them bleached as well. Your smile is also one of those first things somebody sees when they meet you, so having pearly white straight teeth gives a good impression. This last one in the category of self-care would be to go outside and touch grass every so often. I know it's hard if you live in like a cold place with little sunlight, but it's like summer here now. I make sure to take advantage of that, as hot as it is, getting that vitamin D through that sunlight, and even getting a nice tan in the process. A lot of people will do fake tan because it also makes you look a little bit nicer. You can also get that by just going outside. This next category was really an issue for me, and there's really only one item under it. It's about taking care of your space. You want to make sure your space at home is clean and tidy. When I had like seasonal depression in college, I would let trash build up in my room. It would keep piling up and keep piling up. And I wasn't even getting out of my room often because it was so cold outside. And I just felt more and more claustrophobic within my own space. I think your space at home is one of the most important places because it's a place you should be able to go relax and chill out away from the rest of the world. You want to make sure that space is well taken care of. I know it may seem like work, but you're doing it for you. And I know that's hard for a lot of people to go out and do something for yourself, but you're the main character of your own story. You should be doing everything in your power to be your best self. Moving on to the next section, which would be mindfulness. I know when you think of glowing up, it seems to be mostly physical and looking good, lean, built, attractive, whatever, but a lot of it is mental as well. I'm sure you've met people who look great on the outside but have terrible personalities or are a little bit dumb. Someone can be a 10 out of 10 when it comes to looks, but if they just have an ugly personality, sometimes it just brings them down to a 5, and they get outshined by someone who might not look as good but is more attractive personality-wise and smarts-wise. Parts of this section would include reading. I think one book a month is a good place to start. It doesn't even have to be a physical book, it can be an audiobook. But reading just opens your mind to new perspectives and stories and literally allows you to enter the mind of another person and see how they think. I think reading gives you a perspective of your own about the world, or develop that at least. And it's hard to do through other mediums. I think journaling is also very important. One of my friends recommended when it comes to journaling, write to yourself. So if you're writing in your journal or your diary, whatever you call it, literally start it with Dear Journal or Dear Diary or Dear Nico, whatever. And it opens up almost a one-on-one conversation with yourself where you can be very introspective of your own thoughts and feelings and your emotions as a whole. I've found that very helpful when it comes to journaling, but you should try and see what works for yourself. Another item on this list when it comes to mindfulness would be being open with people. I think a lot of us are so closed off when it comes to meeting new people or with people we aren't necessarily that close to. But if you can be vulnerable to someone else, that opens the door for them to be vulnerable with you. And I think that allows you to develop more of an authentic relationship and deeper relationship with that person. I've realized that a lot of my relationships are based around one thing, and that people in my life I say I'm friends with, I don't know very well outside of that thing I have in common with them. So I find a lot of my relationships and friendships to be extremely circumstantial, when I would so much rather have a few deep relationships over a bunch of surface level relationships. So that's something I've been trying to work on myself recently. And I think that's so good for you mentally to be able to go to specific people and open up. So you're not just internalizing all of those things you're going through. I think that's very negative. I've been through that, and you almost have outbursts of energy when you just can't keep internalizing something any longer. This last part of mindfulness would be to remove negative people from your life. I know it might be hard to do and also hard for you to hear that, but you're the product of the closest 5 people around you. If one or multiple of those people are negative and harmful to you, they will disrupt your personal growth. Get them out of your life as fast as you can in order for you to be everything you can be. This next section would be to set some goals. I think these following 4 sectors are very important to set goals in. That's, you should set mental goals, physical goals, social goals, and monetary goals, like money goals. I think if you have one big goal in each of those areas, if you can just right now or after this video, write down a short or a long-term goal in each of those areas, and on a daily basis, take steps to achieve those goals, I think is an awesome way to start. Without goals, I often feel very lost in my life. I don't know where I'm going. That's happened multiple times for me. When I started TikTok and I had my first viral video and knew I could build a following, my goal was 1 million followers. Once I hit that mark, I didn't know what I was doing anymore because I didn't have another goal on top of that, and I ultimately never set another one. Also, when it came to college, growing up, my goal was to always get recruited for a sport to either Harvard or Stanford. And I did ultimately achieve that. I did end up wrestling at Harvard and getting recruited. But once I got there, I just didn't know what I was chasing anymore, because for so long I was following this big goal that once I reached it, I didn't even know what other goals to set, and I had to rethink everything. Set some initial goals, set some goals you think are achievable, but be aware, and once you get close to those goals, reevaluate and set new ones, set higher goals. That's my advice from experience. So those are pretty much all of the different categories you should be focused on if you want to glow up quickly. I think overall these make you a well-rounded person. You know, you're focused on your physical self, but you're also focused on your mental self. Other things I might include would be to factor in spirituality, making sure you're consistent and on a day-to-day basis checking in with yourself and knowing if you're on track to achieve the things you want to achieve, and making sure you're getting into the right habits. There are many ways you can achieve a lot of these goals, but not all of them will be correct. Your body is a being and an ecosystem, and it's a balance of all of these things. Just make sure you're not giving up certain aspects of your life in order to achieve some of these things for yourself. Now that wraps up this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. I'm going to be holding you guys accountable, so good luck on this journey. I'll catch you guys in my next video. Peace.